The start of the NBA season is right around the corner, so on this episode, we're going to talk about the year's powerhouses and how Kawhi Leonard and DeMar DeRozan are faring on their brand new teams, plus a bunch more, a little 2018-2019 NBA season preview right here on Full Court Press.
It's now time for your favorite in-depth basketball show with the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops.
Welcome to Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet, joined as always by the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, but you know what? The NBA season starts in a couple days, and I could not be more happier.
It's like Christmas time, you know. It's such a great feeling. The countdown is on. The NBA season, like you said, just a couple of days away. It's the best time of the year, really.
Yep, a lot of drama in the offseason, so we got a lot of entertainment for the past few months. But yeah, the real actual season starts on Tuesday. Cannot wait.
I know, it's going to be pretty wild. And what a way to kick things off this NBA season. We got the Sixers against the Celtics. And then the Warriors are in action. They're taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, those are pretty good matchups. I can't complain.
Yeah, to start off the NBA season, you know, just getting right into it. And of course, the Toronto Raptors, they kick off the regular season on Wednesday, going up against the LeBron-less Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think the matchup's going to look a lot different than the last time the two teams faced off on the court.
Yeah, it's going to be I can't say interesting, but it's going to be very positive for the Raptors that LeBron James is no longer a Cavalier.
Oh, yeah. It's going to open a lot of doors for Toronto, and we'll see how the Raptors play out this season. They've got some new players, obviously the big name Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green in there as well, plus Greg Monroe. It's gonna be a fun season for Toronto, a different season. This is the first time in almost a decade that DeMar DeRozan is not suiting up with the Toronto Raptors. But looking at this NBA season, focusing on the entire league, who do you think are some of the powerhouses this year? Obviously, you got to consider the Raptors in that category.
Well, the top tier teams in the East, you obviously go with the Celtics, you go with the Sixers, and of course the Raptors, and then you got like those teams that are there but they're not quite there yet, like the Pacers, the Wizards, and the Bucks. Everyone's sleeping on the Bucks, but Giannis is going to have a great season. They could potentially surprise a lot of people. So it's going to be a good time in the East this year, I can tell.
Definitely. I think gone are the days. Well, you could say this. It's been more of a changing of the season the past few years, with the Eastern Conference becoming a little bit more powerful. Still not as powerful as the Western Conference, but not as lowly as the conference has been in the past. And you mentioned the Bucks. Giannis, future MVP. One of these days, that kid he's going to be named the league MVP.
It could
incredible.
Be this season.
You never know. Look at him. He had a triple-double in the preseason.
Yeah. And then in the West, you got the Warriors, obviously. And you got the Rockets. And you got a somewhat improved OKC team.
A little bit. You know, you mentioned the Houston Rockets. Their big new addition, Carmelo Anthony. Do you think he's going to fit in well playing alongside Chris Paul and James Harden? Or?
The thing is, they lost two really good players in Trevor Ariza and a good defensive player in Bob Mute. But they got a really good scorer in Carmelo Anthony, so I don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe this is where Carmelo Anthony can shine.
And kind of get back to his former glory, in a sense. One player that I'm particularly excited about on the Rockets and seeing his development is Clint Capella.
Oh, yeah. He could potentially be an all-star this year for the first time.
Yeah, who knows? The ceiling is way high for this kid. You know, he's just starting off in the league, so it's going to be really fun to watch his development as this season goes on. And he's playing with veterans like Chris Paul, Anthony, and James Harden, of course, last season's MVP. So I think the Rockets will probably be the biggest test for the Warriors come the end of the season. What about you? Do you think do you think it's going to be Warriors in the NBA Finals again?
Let me just say yes. The Warriors are going to the finals.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what team is going to be able to stop them. It's certainly not going to be LeBron and the Lakers. That's a whole other topic. Do the Lakers even make the playoffs? Sure, they've got a ton of great young talent. You know, you guys like Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. But can LeBron? The thing about LeBron is when he played with the Cavaliers, he had a strong support cast of veterans. But now he's got a strong support cast, but they're all rookies in the league. Like they're all young players that don't have a lot of playoff experience, if any playoff experience. So the big question is, do the Lakers make the playoffs this season?
Well, I was looking at the teams in the West earlier today, and I did my predictions for the standings.
Yeah, I'd love to hear them.
So I got the Warriors first, obviously. You got Rockets second. It was tough between Thunder and Jazz for that third spot, but I gave it to Thunder, and then Jazz got that fourth spot. And then I gave the Los Angeles Lakers that fifth spot.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that high up, eh?
Yeah. And then the Nuggets, Pelicans, and then I have the Blazers and T-Wolves battling it out for that eighth spot.
Oh, man, I'd like to see that.
But yeah, I just feel like LeBron, any team he goes to, makes the playoffs, and I think the Lakers have enough talent where they could win 48 games, which would be good enough for, I'd say, a fifth spot.
Yeah, it's possible. It is LeBron James after all. If he needs to, push the gas at the end of the season, he can take that team, squeeze them into the playoffs at least. But there are enough teams that are kind of in the lower tier below the Lakers, like you said, some of those teams you mentioned, like the Blazers and the T-Wolves, that the Lakers could surpass to secure a higher ranking come season's end.
I think from spots 5 till 9, it's a toss-up. But yeah, like, I have the Blazers potentially not making the playoffs, and that was tough for me to say because I'm a big Lillard fan.
Mm-hmm. I got him on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
My first pick was 14th overall, and luckily I was
How many teams are in this league?
16.
Yeah.
I know I drew the short straw, but I was fortunate enough to get Damian Lillard with that 14th pick, so I'm okay with that.
And then the T-Wolves, it's going to be drama all season.
Well, who knows what's going to happen with Jimmy Butler? He's totally being a drama queen. Like, come on, Jimmy Butler's a good player, but you're not good enough to be putting up such a fit like he's been doing. Jimmy Butler is a good player, but I don't consider Jimmy Butler a superstar.
Well, today he did practice with the T-Wolves, and Wiggins was quoted as saying that if you have Butler on your team, it's always a great thing.
Well,
So and maybe that players only meeting and that whole tantrum he had in the practice the other day, maybe that did something good with the Wolves. You never know.
yeah, who knows what goes on behind closed doors. But
Yeah,
no matter what, if you're a T-Wolves fan, it doesn't really matter what happens behind the scenes, as long as they can produce on the court. That's what matters at the end of the day for any sports franchise, really. What about the Eastern Conference? What are your predictions looking like for the Eastern Conference standings?
I got the Celtics finishing first, Raptors second, Sixers third. That was a given
Yeah.
for those. And then I got the Bucks finishing fourth, Pacers fifth, Wizards sixth, and I got a new team making the playoffs in the Detroit Pistons.
Oh yeah, led by NBA Coach of the Year Dwayne Casey.
Yes, sir. And then I got the Heat making it at eighth. And that potential, because I got the Raptors second and the Pistons seventh, so they'd face off in the first round.
Yeah, wouldn't that be poetic?
Yes, it would.
That would be incredible. That would be something spectacular to watch. And if those two teams faced off, granted, Dwayne Casey knows some of the kinks of the players on the Raptors. Although the roster does look a little different, I think the Raptors would still have the edge in that first round against the Pistons.
Yeah, for sure. And these predictions for the East standings, it's just, I don't know, it was way easier for me.
Oh yeah, and certainly those top spots. Same with the Western Conference. Those top like 1 to 4, and even 1 to 5, a lot easier,
Yeah,
more of an easy lock. Especially the top three in both conferences. You know who it's going to be. So.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, should we get it on with the awards?
Yeah, yeah. Let's look. Yeah, looking ahead, who's going to bring home some hardware at the end of this season?
All right, let's start off with most improved player. I got my candidates are Jamal Murray, Miles Turner of the Pacers, and Brandon Ingram of the Lakers.
I I like Jamal Murray, but I think playing alongside LeBron James, which is going to be a very good
Oh,
learning experience,
yeah,
at Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram has a chance to break out this season. You know, it won't be an All Star, but
yeah,
he can get the Most Improved Player award.
yeah. Like Miles Turner, you can't sleep on that guy. He's going to be really good in his career, potential All Star. But I think I'd go with Jamal Murray. Like I said, the West is like from 5 till 9 playoffs. I think the Nuggets will make the playoffs, but they could finish pretty well in the standings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nuggets, and Jamal Murray is like pretty much their best player, I think.
There's an interesting post that I saw. I think it was on Instagram, and it was who would you like to start a franchise with, Jamal Murray and Gary Harris, or um, uh, I think Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. And
Yeah,
the poster said, "I'd choose Harris and Murray." You know,
for sure.
fair assessment.
Yeah, I think so because Lonzo Ball, he's not really proven yet, and Ingram, we don't know if he's gonna be that All Star yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like I see so much potential in Jamal Murray and Harris, so I agree with that person.
And Jamal Murray's got the Canadian edge, right? So.
Yeah. So sixth man of the year, my candidates were Terry Rozier, Dennis Schroeder, J.J. Redick, Lou Williams, obviously,
Yeah, of
again,
course.
like every year, and Tyreek Evans, who signed with the Pacers this offseason.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, who knows?
Who had a really he had a really good year with the Grizzlies last year.
Oh yeah, he's a very strong player. Who knows what's going to happen with Terry Rozier, because his situation with the Celtics is kind of in flux right now. Um, Lou Williams, obviously a good bet, won it last season. He's an incredible player off the bench, and he's great at coming in and helping closing out games. But I've always liked Tyreek Evans. Let's give it to Tyreek Evans. New team, to see how he does with the new squad.
Yeah, and I left off Jaylen Brown, but I don't know if he's starting or not. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick Dennis Schroeder of OKC.
Oh yeah.
New team coming off the bench, being that 6 man scorer. I think he can pull it off.
Well, yeah, and if he adjusts to the role accordingly, because he was a starter with the Hawks and one
Yeah,
of their main players, if not their main offensive weapon,
yeah.
if he can adjust accordingly to that sixth man role, then he can flourish in it.
Shall we move on to defensive player of the year?
Defensive player of the year, whew, yeah.
So there's Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Rudy Gobert, and Joel Embiid.
Oh man, I'd like to say Joel Embiid, but I think Rudy Gobert could pull it off again.
Back to back, eh?
Yeah, I think Rudy Gobert is a good, solid pick. He's slowly develop. Well, not slowly, like he's picking up the pace, but he's developing into a very strong NBA big man.
Yeah,
When that's kind of a rarity, I guess, in the league now, you don't really see that. Well, you see some dominating big men, but it's not as prominent as it was, just a few years ago.
yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Davis.
Yeah,
He deserves it.
the brow.
Oh, the brow.
All
He's
right,
got it this year.
all right. Well, I like Anthony Davis. I've always been a fan of his. So.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So now, coach of the year. There's Brad Stevens, Quinn Snyder, and it was tough for me. But like, one of my candidates was Eric Spoelstra.
Mm. Yeah.
What do you think?
I like to give it to Nick Nurse. No.
Well, could be.
You never know though, right? I know that's kind of a crazy prediction because we haven't really seen him coach at the head coaching position in the regular season. Yeah, obviously because the season hasn't started. But you know what? He's my X factor. He's got Kawhi Leonard to work with. Kawhi working with Kyle Lowry. Nick Nurse. I'm throwing his name out there.
Yeah. If the Raptors win 60-plus games, his first season at the helm, it's possible.
That's a strong case to be named Coach of the Year if you can win 60-plus games.
But I'm just going with the safe pick in Brad Stevens.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
And the man deserves it.
He's a great coach. He is an absolutely fantastic coach, and what he's been able to do with the Celtics over the past few years has been amazing. So
yeah, I think if any coach in the NBA deserves Coach of the Year, it's Brad Stevens at this point. So.
Well, and he's so young too, right?
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest points for Brad Stevens is that he's so young and still has so many years of growth, but he's been able to do so much at his age. So
yeah. And moving along to Rookie of the Year. Now, I just singled out these two players because I think they're going to have the best years out of all of them. That's Luka Doncic and DeAndre Ayton.
I was going to go with Luka. And he's playing with the Mavs. There's a lot of controversy around what's going on behind the scenes of the Mavericks organization, but Luka's going to be playing with the best European player of all time, Dirk Nowitzki. I stand by that. I consider Dirk Nowitzki the best European basketball player ever.
I do think the Atlanta Hawks are incredibly stupid for not drafting him.
Oh, so dumb.
This is back in the Chris Paul draft when they drafted Marvin Williams instead of Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Look how that turned out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying Trae Young's going to be bad because he could potentially be a good shooter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But Luka Doncic, he's really, really good.
Yeah, he's
really, really good.
He's got something special to him, and he's so young too. So it's only he's going up from here. So.
But for my choice for Rookie of the Year, it's gonna be DeAndre Ayton.
You're going with DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah, I think he's because the Suns aren't there yet as a playoff team, and I just think he's gonna pad those stats. And when it comes to Rookie of the Year, it's not about winning; it's about best stats, pretty much. And I think I wouldn't say 20 and 10, but he's gonna be up there.
That'd be impressive if he could average a double-double this rookie campaign.
Oh, for sure.
That'd be something.
Always
impressive to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And now that final award, the MVP of the season.
Giannis.
Yeah, you got... And these four guys, I got LeBron James, Giannis, Anthony Davis, and Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kawhi has been in the talks a lot. A new team, a new slice of life for Kawhi Leonard, and all the commentary, all the talks it sounds positive. It sounds like Kawhi Leonard is really enjoying the city of Toronto and the Raptors organization so far.
Oh yeah, I've never heard him talk so much.
It's great, and Danny Green even said that the other week that he's. For all the years that he's known and played alongside Kawhi has never talked that much in the huddles, on the court, in the locker room. And that's a great sign, especially coming off that tumultuous final season with the San Antonio Spurs.
It's just a way different situation for Leonard. When he was on the Spurs, he was always playing behind all these veterans who spoke up and up with it. But now we have Kawhi Leonard, that veteran, who's that basketball mind in the locker room. He's the go-to guy, I feel like.
Exactly, and I really think that Leonard and Kyle Lowry are going to get a good flow going. One of the first plays, that first preseason game, that little back and forth give and go that they were doing, that was beautiful. It's like, okay, if this is a sign of things to come this season, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch play together. Like, it's fantastic.
I think it could potentially take a couple of weeks for them to get used to each other, but once that happens, it could be very dangerous for other teams in the NBA.
Oh yeah, they get into a good flow. Yeah, I'm very optimistic about the Kawhi Leonard era in Toronto. I don't know if Kawhi's going to be named league MVP.
Yeah.
I don't think LeBron will get it. Just like I don't know. I'm not totally like into the LeBron and like the king is in LA. Like I'm like whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
It wasn't a big surprise. Um, I think I'd like to see Giannis win league MVP. That would
So
be
you
that
think
would
Giannis
be
is getting it?
yeah, that would be great. I think he is it's like an infinite amount of talent, and he's still growing because he's just a few years into the league, and it's
Yeah.
incredible what he's been able to do in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Sure the Bucks aren't necessarily a powerhouse team, but they could surprise some people, and they could end up going far.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to like this, but I'm picking LeBron James for MVP.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just think you bring him on a team that was in the lottery the past few years. They make the playoffs. Like I said, they're going to finish fifth. They finish fifth, and I don't see how you don't pick LeBron.
He's got these younger players to rely on. He's still going to have to do some carrying of the load because
Yeah.
he's playing with these younger players. It's going to be a really interesting year to watch for LeBron James because he is really the sole veteran. Well, you've got JaVale McGee, Rondo, and Lance Stevenson that joined the team during the offseason. Kind of this random ragtag group of players.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's why I'm saying like they didn't really add that much. Yeah, like nice veteran players, but if he can lead that team to the playoffs, then that's impressive. Very
Well,
impressive.
yeah, I won't lie. I'd be impressed as well. But one thing I know for sure is that the Raptors will not have to deal with LeBron James in the playoffs unless they make it to the NBA Finals. And even in that case, they probably won't have to deal with LeBron James.
Now let's talk about the playoffs. Now let's simulate to the conference finals. Like my prediction for the East Finals is Celtics versus Raptors, and for the West, Warriors versus Rockets. Well, what are you thinking?
Warriors versus Rockets. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Personally, fan-wise, I'd like to see the Raptors versus the Sixers.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. I've been a Sixers fan ever since the days of Iverson. But statistically and analytically, I'd agree with you. Raptors versus Celtics. Raptors,
Yeah.
Celtics. I think it's going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. It will be between those three teams: the Raptors, Celtics, and Sixers. I don't think any
Yeah.
other team is going to squeak on by and get into the Eastern Conference Finals. Western Conference Finals, it's a lock that it's going to be the Warriors and Rockets, especially because they've added Carmelo Anthony too. Sure, they lost some of their good players, but they added another very tremendous basketball player. That Carmelo Anthony is just an aside there. I think he kind of gets a lot of flack that he doesn't really deserve. Carmelo Anthony is actually a really good player. Granted, he's
Yeah.
kind of dipped the past few years, but this might be a year where he can really kind of rise from the ashes and pick himself back up and prove that he's Carmelo Anthony. He is a good basketball player.
Yeah, that's true. Now, what I'm thinking in the Eastern Finals, I don't want to say this. I think Celtics beat the Raptors in 7 games.
Wow, a heartbreaker.
Obviously, because they have home court advantage.
Well, yeah.
And in the West, I have the Warriors beating the Rockets in 7 games for the second straight year.
Wow. I would be so excited to see the Rockets versus the Raptors in the NBA Finals.
So, what do you think?
I love the Toronto Raptors, but granted they've got Kawhi Leonard, so things are going to be different. It's not going to be a repeat of last season. I I'm gonna, you know what? Because I like to play devil's advocate, I'm gonna take the Raptors in 6.
Whoa.
The Raptors in 6, yeah, and the in Warriors in like 5.
Whoa, 5?
Yeah, I know.
Those are some bold predictions.
I know. But watch. It's bang on though.
Like, honestly, the Warriors added Cousins, and I know he won't play till I think February, but I think once he comes back, Jesus.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane. You know, if the Raptors do make their way to the NBA Finals and face the Warriors are I it's so it's boring. But it's luckily we aren't going to see the Cavaliers versus the Warriors in the NBA Finals again. We're not going to
Yeah.
see LeBron in the finals for the first time in what feels like forever. But I still think the Warriors are going to win the NBA championship again.
I mean, you brought up the Cavaliers, and you never know. J.R. Smith can come out of nowhere, become a superstar, and lead the Cavs to the finals.
Well, you never know. They've also got you're right. They got Rodney Hood too.
This is supreme sarcasm right here.
Oh yeah. The most supreme.
But yeah, like back at it, I have the Warriors beating the Celtics in 6.
And there you go, another championship for Golden State.
But let's stop talking about that. And Kawhi Leonard, I think if the Raptors make it to the conference finals at least, then there's a very, very, very good chance he stays.
Mm-hmm. I'm optimistic because a lot of the things I've heard have been positive. And like you said, you know, Kawhi doesn't really talk that much. That's just his personality. But I feel like since he entered the league, this is the most he's talked to the media and the most he's smiled.
Yeah.
Since joining the NBA, and he's a great basketball player. And the thing that I like about Kawhi Leonard is that he lets his playing do the talking, and that's what he's always said.
Yeah.
He's not really one to be all flashy or anything. He just goes out there and does his job, and he does his job well. So, do you see Kawhi Leonard as the leading scorer for the Raptors this season?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. With Kawhi, do you think Lowry's assist numbers are going to go up?
Probably.
Yeah.
And Larry, I hope Larry has a really good season. I feel like he will.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be enough to make it to the All-Star team? Hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, and how do you think DeMar's going to do on the Spurs? Like, how are the Spurs going to do this season? Because they've kind of had a rough go with Murray getting injured. That is a tough blow for the Spurs, and is this the year where the Spurs don't make the playoffs?
So before that DeJounte Murray injury, I had the Spurs penciled into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's too much of a loss for them because I was expecting him to be one of those most improved players.
Oh yeah.
And with the loss of him and they don't have Tony Parker anymore and the retirement of Ginobili, it's their rookies are kind of step up. DeMar's gonna have to have an amazing season. I don't know if it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think DeRozan's going to have a really good year, but I don't see the Spurs making the playoffs. It'd be the first time in I think 97 it was.
Yeah,
last time they missed it.
Yeah, it was the season before Duncan got drafted or Duncan's rookie season.
No, it was the year before.
Yeah, because Duncan made the playoffs every season of his career.
Yeah, and I still love DeRozan. How could you not love DeRozan?
Oh yeah, DeMar DeRozan's the man. I'm very, very excited for that first game, the Raptors versus the Spurs.
Yeah, when he comes back in, I think the first game is in February.
Back in Toronto, yeah.
He's gonna get the biggest standing ovation in I was about to say ACC in Scotiabank Arena history.
Oh yeah. Hey, I still call it the ACC, so it's always gonna be the Air Canada Centre to me.
And he's a very emotional guy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some tears coming out of him.
If we see some tears, I'm gonna shed some tears.
That'll be tough for a while.
I'm gonna shed some tears. Oh man, just thinking about it.
That'll be like watching This Is Us.
Oh man, or Grey's Anatomy. Rough stuff, man.
Oh,
Rough
did I
stuff.
just bring up This Is Us in a basketball podcast?
Yeah, and I brought up Grey's Anatomy, so look
There you go.
look at how we're going.
Never thought I'd see the day. This Is Us and a basketball podcast.
Hey man, in the words of Kevin Garnett, anything is possible.
Oh man.
Well, I am super stoked for the NBA season. How are you feeling? It's such a great time of the year. Finally get to watch some NBA regular season basketball. Just a couple of days away.
A couple of days away. Can't believe I'm saying that. And the Raptors have a record amount of games on national TV this year, so a lot of people are going to watch them over in the States land.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. A lot of recognition that is most certainly well deserved, and I'm really excited to see all their new players, just to see Kawhi, Danny Green, Greg Monroe, and see how these guys mesh with the team.
The starting lineup, I'm hoping it's Lowry, Green, Kawhi, OG, and Valanciunas. They're thinking of putting Ibaka. I don't know about that.
I think Ibaka should work as the sixth man.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you got Ibaka, Fred VanVleet in that seventh spot, C.J. Miles, DeLon Wright, Pascal Siakam.
I know JV isn't the best defensively, but think about it. You have Lowry, Green, OG, Kawhi. That's four incredibly great defenders behind JV.
Oh yeah.
You don't need Ibaka there for that fifth.
No,
spot.
and they've called him Mr. Consistency because he's kind of stayed at that like 12 points a game, 10, 12 points a game, 8 or 9 rebounds per game every season, and this could be the year that he averages a double-double.
Yeah, and I could potentially see this as being his career year, something like 15 and 10.
That would be awesome. I would be very happy with that.
There's talk that Nick Nurse would give him a bigger role, so hopefully he's starting in that game on Wednesday night.
And I think OG most certainly deserves that starting spot.
The Kawhi Leonard prodigy.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to learn a lot from him.
Oh yeah, Kawhi is going to bring a lot of knowledge, and so is Danny Green. Like Danny Green is the X factor in that trade. Danny Green is such a useful piece to that deal. Like he's going to be a huge asset for the Raptors. They got Danny Green and C.J. Miles, two fantastic 3-point shooters.
I am kind of worried about C.J. Miles.
Yeah?
Not because of basketball-wise, because there's something called the GoDaddy Curse.
Oh, no.
And players like Terrence Ross had a commercial with them. Norman Powell had a commercial with them. I think JV in one of his off years had a commercial with them. And it just seems like every season that player who has that GoDaddy commercial just doesn't pan out. So hopefully he breaks the curse.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, it's GoDaddy, more like no daddy.
And I can't believe we haven't talked about Freddie VanVleet.
Freddie VanVleet. What do they call him? Like Too Sweet VanVleet or what?
Well, I called him Steady Freddie.
Steady Freddie, that's what it is. Steady Freddie. Man, what an awesome player. That was a very smart move to re-sign him.
Yeah, he's the ultimate professional. He's everything you want in a point guard. He's a leader. He's the leader of that bench mob.
He's great. I'm a huge fan of his. And he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah. And I'm predicting right now, in 20 years, when his playing career is over, he's going to be a head coach.
Yeah, I think he'd do a good job. Head coach in the NBA.
His basketball IQ is off the charts. It's like you watch him in an interview and he just talks basketball, nothing but basketball. He knows the ins and outs.
Awesome. And don't like him and Kawhi have a bit of a link too, don't they?
No, it's Norman Powell. And I've never been happier for Norman Powell being on the Raptors for that connection.
Perfect.
Anything helps.
Yeah, exactly. Every little bit helps in going towards keeping Kawhi with the Raptors.
Yeah. I believe they grew up together in San Diego, and their moms are best friends or something like that.
Little family connection.
There you go. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's all you need, man.
All about that family.
Hey, this is us, right? This is us.
This is us. This is us right now. This is us talking about this is us.
Yeah, that it is. That it is.
Anywho.
Well, any other final thoughts before we wrap things up, Nard Dogg?
Like I said, I can't wait for the season to start. It's going to be a good one with a lot of basketball and a lot of drama, courtesy of Jimmy Butler and the Wolves, and a lot of other drama stuff I'm sure will develop during the season because it always does in the NBA. And just hope somehow a team takes down the Warriors.
Yeah, there we go. We'll keep our fingers crossed. That's the hope this season. Don't know if it's actually going to happen, but one can always hope.
That modern day dynasty, the Warriors.
Yep, that's how it is.
And that is us. This is us.
Well, perfect way to wrap things up, Nard Dogg. And as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Full Court Press. If you want to take a listen to past episodes, you can check out our YouTube channel and also take a look at our Facebook page. And if you want to keep the basketball talk going, you can follow me on Twitter at JustinGoulet21. Nard Dogg, where can people find you?
I am on the Twitter at DavidBernardi7.
Excellent. At DavidBernardi7. Very nice. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet.
And I'm the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi.
You have yourself a fantastic morning, night, or whenever you're listening to this episode of FCP, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
You've just been hit with Full Court Press. Courtesy of the men, the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops Goulet.